Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode in our quest system series on UE4. In the last episode we got started by adding our objectives to be completed. So last time we done the location objectives. This time we're going to look at interaction objectives, so objectives that require to interact with a certain item, character, object, whatever it may be. So for this to work, we're going to break this video into two parts, all in the same video but two sections of it. So the first section we're going to look at replacing our interaction code that we've got currently set up, and the second part actually completing the objective. So the problem we need to fix currently, which you may have seen in the previous episodes, is that the push E to interact comes up for every single actor, regardless of whether or not they're interactable or have a quest. So what we're going to do is fix that first to make it foolproof for future interactions. So to do this, we're going to make an interact interface first of all. So go add new, blueprint interface, and we'll call it interact interface. And you want this interface to be applied to every single thing that's going to be interactable by the player. So in this case, the NPCs. So I'm going to find my NPC blueprint, and on here I'm going to click on class settings up top, and on the right hand side you'll see interfaces is blank. Click on the add button and search for your interact interface. Now an interface I've used plenty of times in the past, but essentially what they are, when we open one up, is a predefined set of functions which can be called by anything, and when you set it into an object, it shares that function. So basically, if I put interact in here, anything that has this interface can call this function and also inherit this function, so they can have their own particular code to handle what to do when it's called. So pretty nifty. Click compile, and we're going to close this. And what we're going to do is change our interaction method. So to do that, we need to go back to our player and have a look at what we currently got. So currently we've got three parts to this. We've got the begin overlap, the end overlap, and the interact itself. So the begin overlap, we're adding the widget, the push E to interact. End overlap, we're removing the widget, and with the interact, we're checking what the widget's attached to, and then opening up the quest dialog. Okay, which isn't going to be always the case because sometimes it's not a quest. So we need to make this a bit more foolproof. So to do this and make it easier for myself, I'm going to make a macro. So macros are essentially bundles of code that can be copy and pasted multiple times all over the place on every single actor you have. Now you can just make a macro library, which makes them nice and organized and easy to change whenever you like. So go to add new, blueprints, macro library, and choose actor. And in here I'm going to call it quest macros. I open this up, and in here we're going to name the first macro check for interaction. And the purpose of this macro is to check whether or not something has an interaction and or a quest. So it's going to have two inputs. So on the inputs on the right hand side, click on plus, and the first one's going to be an in, with the type being an execute, and another one is going to be actor to check for, and that be the type of actor. The outputs are going to output true as an execute pin, false as an execute pin. So true if it is interactable, false if it isn't. And if it is interactable, we're going to output whether or not it has a quest or not by simply just saying quest, and the type it's going to be is a quest type. So if it does have a quest, it's going to spit it out. And I'm just going to move the quest to be below true and above false by using the arrows here. Okay, so that's that set up. So the first thing we need to do is check whether or not we have a quest associated to this actor. And we've already done that already with the third person character. So that's what this is doing here. So here we need to change this to work in here. So with actor here, I'm going to get attached actors. So it's going to look for all the things attached to it, which could be quests, because if you remember rightly, our quests, if I click on here, are attached to, in the world outliner, NPCs or quest givers. So get attached actors, this will get an array out, and this is going to be a for each loop with a break, because what I want it to do is to stop looping once it's found a quest. So on the loop, it's going to do a couple of things. The first thing it's going to do is check whether or not this thing is a quest, and we're going to do that with a cast. So cast to quest, and plug into the array element. This cast to the quest will spit out successful down this line if it is a quest, and down this line if it isn't. If it is a quest, we're going to come out of here and we're going to set some values to basically break the loop. We could just break the loop right now, but I want to be able to store whether or not we actually broke the loop or whether we just completed it, and also which quest we actually broke the loop with. So from here, I'm going to right click and type in local boolean. And this local boolean is just a local variable that we can use in the meantime. And in here, I'm going to click assign, and I'm going to assign this boolean a value, and I'm going to tick that box, because this will only tick if this is successful. So once this is ticked, the boolean is ticked, we'll carry on. And the next thing we're going to store is a local integer of the array index of the attached actors. So from here, we're going to assign that value to, and that value will be the array index, like so. We can now bring this round to our break. I'm just going to put in some reroutes in here to make it nice and organized and easy to see and read what we're doing. So this completed here will only run if it's broken or if it's finished the loop. If it's finished the loop, we're going to check whether or not it was actually broken or not by dragging this local variable into here. If it was broken, that means we found a quest, so I can put it into true. As to finding out which quest we found, we need to cast again to the quest and get the, first of all, the attached actor, cast the quest, and output it. So from here, sorry, not from there, we want to get the out actors here. I'm just going to reroute it and do get a copy, and the variable from local integer will go into it. Now I'll find the attached actor that broke this loop, and then from there I can cast this to quest. Connect it all up like so, and as quest will go into the quest output. Having two casts isn't great. There is a function called a wildcard, but unfortunately at the time of this recording the wildcard doesn't seem to be working. It's like a bug, I think. So for now we're going to have to do this. It isn't too bad, but it could be better. So this will now output true if there's a quest. If there isn't a quest, it will output false, and we can just put down to false. Okay, so the next bit is to find out whether or not it actually is interactable, because sometimes you want to interact with something that doesn't have a quest. So we need to check whether or not this implements the interact interface. So from the input actor, come down here and just type in does implement interface, and choose your interact interface from the drop down menu, and that'll spit out a boolean true or false. This boolean is going to go into a branch, and this branch will go into the false path of the first branch we made. So if there's no quest attached to it, it's going to check then whether or not we actually have an interface on it. If it does, then the true here is also going to go to true as an output, and if it's false, it'll go to false. And that's kind of it for this macro here. Click save, and we're going to make another macro right now as well. So go and add new macro, and this one's going to be called display quest, because on our third person character, once we are checking for the quest, we've got this code here, display the quest, and it gets a bit messy. So let's cut this out of here. So everything from the create widget to the set auto size, cut that from there with Control X, and in here we can paste it like so. So our input needs an execute, because create quest UI needs an execute line. So on the new parameters, new in execute, and this is also going to need a quest. So on here, we're going to go which quest we're going to show. And that'll be a quest type. And that'll plug into the quest in the create user widget. Okay. So we now have all this stuff going on. It's straight copied and pasted from the player. And the output itself will just have an out execute. And this little macro, this bundle of code, we can save it and return to our third person character. Because now we can start replacing things here. So the first thing I'm going to do is look at my begin overlap. Now I only want to show this if we have interactable elements. So I'm going to use that macro we just made for check for interaction. Now our inputs here are in, which we got tied to the event already, but the actor here will link to the other actor. And we don't need the quest yet, but from here we can then add a widget if we are an interaction waiting to happen. End overlap we can leave as is, no difference there. And over here on the interact we can change some of this now as well. So the interact message is getting its attached parent, which is the scene components attached to, and the owner is the actor that we want to check. So that actor there is actually the same actor as this one here. So we don't actually need any of this. We can just do check for interaction again. Is valid goes into the in, and the actor goes to the get owner. So this will now spit out a quest. And this quest we can now go to check whether or not this quest is null and void. If it is null, we're going to ignore it. So we can first of all check whether or not this is true or false, because this will only spit out a value if where is it? If this cast, this local integer, was a value. Otherwise this will spit out null. Okay, so if it doesn't have a quest, because it could still hit true this way round, but this will be nulled in that case because it hasn't been set anything. Quest will be null. So on here we're checking whether or not it's null or not, and we can go into a branch. If it's equal to null, we're going to call that interact message on that interface. So interact message. Now I'll call that interact on a specific target, and that target will be this actor here. So get owner, yoink, there. And the false will come down here to display quest. And the quest is here. It's a little bit tangled around here, so I'm going to actually tie this up a little bit and disconnect these, swap them around, and change this from a equal to a not equal to. So if it's not equal to null, so i.e. there's a quest been set, we'll display the quest. And if it's false, we're going to get the owner and interact with it. Click compile, and let's test this out. So to test this out, I'm going to need to open up my NPC friendly here, and if I right click here and add the interact event, so the event we want is this add event, event interact, and you'll say target is from interact interface, and from here we just do a print string, say hello. Click compile, go back to a game. So this guy will still show his quest, like so, and this guy around here will just say hello in the print string. Okay, so we encountered a bug there, and the issue was that our quest macro wasn't resetting its variables correctly. So let's go back in our quest macros, and the local boolean, once we've done all this, the local boolean, we want to reset this value. So let's reset this value by dragging it way back to the start here and go assign, and I'm going to reset this back to false. Okay, the next thing we need to do is on the outputs we've got has quest false, and we want to add another one on here. And the reason being is that this quest value is remaining behind, which we don't want to be the case. So in here instead what we're going to do is go on to the outputs and add a new output, and this one's going to be called interact, and I'm going to move it up like that, and the true will now go to interact at the bottom down here. So I'm going to click save. Then you want to go into third person character, click compile and save. You want to make sure that everything's saved and compiled. Now if we play, it should allow us to pick up the quest from this guy and then interact with this guy over here. And we forgot to don't forget to also hook up the interact over here. So we're going to got interact and hook that up to the add widget component like so. And down here we're just going to get, rather than do this bit, we're going to cut this out like so, and just put display quest in there, interact in there, and click compile. Save. Push play and go back into our game. Pick up the quest from this guy. Now the proceed to interact doesn't show for the target marker, but it does for this guy. You can see the little hello pop up from our interact event here. So the code now to get to actually complete a interaction event is pretty similar to what we did with the location. So if we go back to our quests and up our quest and go to event graph, we've got begin play, bind event to location reached. So we're going to do exactly the same here, but this time for check interaction objective. So click on add function, check interaction objective, and likewise with the location, this has a input for location reached. The interaction we want to look for on interaction reach is an input as well. So interaction target, and in there you want to name this one an actor. Go back to your compiler and go back to your event graph. Then on the event graph we want to create a new event dispatcher, and this one's going to be called let's say interacted, and drag it onto the field and click bind. On your interacted we need to add an input, so click on the event dispatcher, and on inputs we're going to go new. I'm going to just type in target, and it's going to be an actor. From the event we're going to create event, and then select the function, and it's not showing. Click compile maybe. There you go. Compile it and then choose the check interaction objective. If it doesn't show, chances are you haven't selected your input over here. Okay. Click compile and that should clear the error. So now this event is now bound to that function. So the function, what happens here, is pretty much the same as what happens in a location objective. So let's have a look at that. So in here we're going through the objectives, finding out the objective number, whether it's complete, and if it's not complete, sorry, and whether or not the location's been reached. So it's pretty much exactly the same as this. So I'm going to copy all of this, all of it, and put it into the check interaction event. So let's go through it and change what needs to be changed. So I'm still going through all of my objectives, and the objective number is still recording that. However, I'm not looking at the location reached instead. I'm looking at this interaction target. So from here, do interaction target. So it's not complete, and we're looking for the interaction target. That means we found the objective that matches, and the objective we want to change over here. Objective number we want to get rid of there and get rid of there, and this one is not working either, so we need to get rid of this. So array index, we're going to go promote to local variable and name it objective number. And that will go also into this index here and this index here. that's that complete. Next we want to go down is down here, and you'll see update UI is a condition. We need to set a condition over here, so we need to make another local variable, this time a boolean called update UI. Click compile, and hopefully it sees it already. If not, I get an error like so. Just drag it back out to set to true, and then down here we set update UI to the condition, and this then goes through the motion of updating objectives UI. Click compile, and that is it. So how to make this work and test this out, if I go to my quest that this guy has, so my NPC over here has quest 001, click on him, 001, and over here I've got the first objective is location, the second objective is asking to talk to his brother, which is interact type, and the target is going to be his brother, so we can choose eyedropper and pick his brother over here. Now to make this work entirely, remember on our location marker we actually called this event on the event dispatcher. So now we need to go to our NPC, edit NPC, on the event interact we want to call that interaction. So here I'm going to just basically copy and paste what we have on our location marker, like so. And the third person character we want to get from here, we're simply going to get player character. Click compile, and we just need to also change this call location, because obviously it's not calling location anymore. This is now calling a call interacted, and the target is self. Compile it and let's test it out. So go pick up the quest, accept it, turn it on. So we complete that location objective, and if we go talk to the brother over here, it completes that one too. And that's basically it. That's how we do it. Thank you very much for watching. It's been quite a long episode, this one. In the next episode we'll go on the pickup and inventory items, so collecting the number of items and then returning back to the quest giver to hand them all in. So watch out for that one. If you do have any comments, please leave them below, and if you like this video and want to see the next episode right now, head over to patreon.com, just like these people have, and support me for as little as $1. Join our Discord and get help whenever you feel like it. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.